this is not what I wanted. In that case, we just talking about we don't like it, if you may see it. Hi guys, here's me Anna at my place, at my desk, gonna be trading, gonna be testing ourselves and the market today. Let's start. Let's just proceed, and we're gonna be picking up the time. That is 1 minute for us and 398 for a start. Gotta use today RSI and Dungeon channel. Gotta be just practicing our intuition, I think, with that, because that's gonna be kind of complicated. As I love to say, it's a little bit like, let's switch and change it, and 8 and here and there. That's kind of bold strategy. What I mean by that, that's there's actually not enough, I don't know, like sharp hints. I don't know how I can actually express that feeling that I have about that strategist. It's something like you have the strategy, and here's just the currency pairs with the biggest payouts. You have the strategy, but you don't have much sense by using it. It may be helping in some cases and sometimes, but you'd better be using different one. No, it's just not enough. So it's just not enough. You gotta be guessing. You gotta be maybe using astrology or your own intuition. And of course, that's not like the perfect strategy to have your profits, especially if you are dreaming about your profits being completely, being completely broke. But anyway, you can learn a little bit from that, and I can learn a little bit by using that. That's all of the time something useful. Let's start and not being so negative. And this is us. The first assumption from the first glance are gonna be just we are at the bottom and we gotta get upward after. And it's like getting upward. But I'm waiting for the downward trend. I want you to see how that is just gonna be at the end of this path. So we could actually follow my thoughts, my intuition, and just as I told you, with that type of signs from that indicator and that strategy, that is not enough. And look at that. Of course, this is not like we don't talk about the massive fall. In that case, we just talking about a little bit like a plateau or just the continuation of the trend. That was just the middle of the trend. When we entered, that was the middle. And I must say that it could be an end too. And RSI didn't give us enough, signs that we're going to be breaking back. And Dungeon channel didn't give us enough signs that we're going to be breaking and going to be just getting upward. But here, it is a little bit differently. So we need to be quite attentive. Let's try it again. That's kind of the same. The first assumption that we are having, just raising that. The first assumption that we are having, we got to get downward, but I made my bet for the upward trend. First of all, we have the tendency, we have the patterns, we get in like this, getting like that, and this is the first that massive, but I think that the whole situation is just like that. Or we're gonna be just growing, or we're gonna be growing, then getting downward, and then growing, and for us, that's gonna be the end of the trend. These two situations that I just predict, how can I prove it with the indicators? I can't. That's bad. And even if you cannot, that's pretty bad strategy if you cannot see that looking backward. So sometimes we are making mistakes, but then looking at the indicators, we're like, oh my God, it was so obvious. This indicator was showing us that. In our case, RSI, which is actually more about the speed in many strategies than about the directions, just flat. Dungeon channel being flat when we started, and then just a little bit moved, to the upper part and started to get more narrow. And after it is getting that narrow, we do expect the changing. So we didn't have maybe these signs of getting that narrow with the Donchian channel. So we decided we gotta be keeping the same tendency, but you know that that's kind of bullshit. Again, we are rising, and I'm a little bit mad and sad just because I had an awful lunch, and I don't like that. When you're working hard, then you go to the places to have some nice lunch, and all of the places that I went today were out of my favorite dishes, and just the meal that I had that was like a raw meat instead of the kind of well cooked. So I'm sorry for that little interruption, but your emotional condition actually matters, and now you know mine, that I just had it. It's not about the food, it's about how actually people don't do their work well. I hate it. Right here, what we been actually seeing and what we actually made. Yeah, that was obvious. That's the peak. We gotta get downward after. What made me think that's the peak? RSI, yes. Donchian channel, flat upper line. This is like the border for us in that case. And there was two options, I think, out of what I saw. Or that's going to be the plateau and falling, or that's going to be the falling. And that's it. It's been working, but, you know, all of that about this. Okay, and okay. That's the bottom that we see, and we already just got detected this upward trend. I think we're gonna be growing, but we already in the beginning of it, and the only question is how long will it be? Is 1 minute gonna be enough for that trend to be continuing and growing? And RSI is a little bit like, no, it's maybe that's good that it's not that drastic and we actually can follow what's going on, but the thing that it's so close to this estimated level is a little bit like making me uncomfortable. How about not to go downward, right? It is. So we were actually correct. There is nothing wrong with that. We were correct. The tendency of this chart of getting upward, RSI being flat and showing to us, girl, that's gonna be slow, and this is not what I wanted. My God, I hate that's all of the because of the food. It's all because of that. So I'm gonna be just finish that killer strategy. If you have some enemies and they're in trading, you can recommend this strategy for them. Do not recommend this video because I'm going to be just telling you the truth inside of it. But you can recommend this combo of indicators and tell them that's perfect. You need just to use that and you will have an amazing results. That's it. So, the same. My expectation inside of it were like, we are in the middle and we're going to be continuing. And what about the Donchian channel? We just forgot a little bit about it being narrow or being wide. Now it's getting narrow, and that's bad. Because the narrow it gets, and the moment before it starts to change a little bit of its own direction. We don't like it, if you may see it. I'm tired even of reacting on that. Please don't. Thanks God. So we were just correct. I mean, that situation is just simple. We were in the middle. There was the end of the trend, a little bit of plateau, and then the opposite trend just started. That's it. And we were lucky enough not to be lower than this estimated level, just because if we would enter a little bit later, that would be like a suicide. That's it. And that's us just done. I'm done with that. So guys, if you didn't like it, you can also tell me that. You can find all the videos, all the links below this video or just in my bio. This is it. This is how it is supposed to be. And give me any feedback that you want. And give me some feedback if you actually recommended that to one of your enemies. That's going to be working perfectly. Just perfect.